welcome back to the 5 o'clock Sweats podcast, the podcast where we like to talk about the things that we like to do when we're off the clock, not working. I am Ryan, joined by my handsome buddies.
Hi, I'm Derek.
And I'm Chris, as always. You may or may not be able to see me. Who knows?
Definitely can't see you. Fun fact,
if you
Chris,
squint hard enough, you can see me.
Are you wearing anything right now?
Oh, yeah.
What
What are we talking about this episode? Did I get the wrong memo?
The world's our oyster. Chris could be, wearing
You don't
whatever.
know this. You don't know this. I'm at my height adjustable desk, and I could be standing.
And I am adjusting, baby.
And I could be sitting.
There's a lot of options. Oh. Just do the whole episode like that.
Huh?
Just do the whole just do the whole episode like that.
See, here's the problem.
What are you
though.
talking about?
Do you have numbers on yours? Can you tell how to get exactly to where you were before?
Yeah.
All right, do it.
Well, this is fascinating audio, folks.
For our audio only listeners, Derek is raising and lowering his desk
without his hands.
Oh,
Bang. Bingo, bango.
It's that strong? It's that strong? Do you work that out?
Oh, it's strong.
Wow. That's powerful. You know what else is strong? The fucking Philadelphia Eagles. And
That was so bad.
I'm trying to transition here. I'm trying to pull you. Usually you're better at these transitions than I am.
That sentence was like if Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, just like tried to stop the train, but could not.
Wait, did he just say, you know what else is strong? The fucking...
The fucking
Philadelphia Eagles.
I was going to do like an EAGLES, but I was afraid I was going to misspell it. Guys, it's February 11th, and 2 days ago, our Philadelphia Eagles, our beloved Philadelphia Eagles, our football team, they fucking won the Super Bowl. Can you believe that?
They did it.
They fucking won the Super Bowl.
They went and done it.
This is, I'm still like on cloud 9. I haven't taken this jersey off in 2 days. I can't tell how many times I've watched the highlights, and I can't tell how many times I've cried in the last 48 hours. It's been pretty crazy. Kind of a surreal feeling, but I just want to start off by just like asking you both like what your instant reaction was or still is to this game, because I think the result, I don't know if anyone else really saw all this happening, like the way it turned out, but
no, did not.
How are we feeling, boys? Our team is world champs, and I think they proved that they are by far the best team in football, and it's pretty special.
For the first time in a long time, you could probably hear it in last week's episode, I felt confident about this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really feel any like angst up in me for most of the game. I know we had that one interception where I was like, that could turn some momentum.
Yeah.
It didn't, though.
Not even close.
I felt calm the whole way through.
I just can't believe it's crazy. Like, this was as stress-free of a game as the Eagles have had all year. And it was in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, against Mahomes and Andy Reid, which I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't mentally prepared for that, I think. I was expecting a close game. I thought there was a chance that a blowout could happen in the Eagles' favor. But, in my gut, in my core, I really didn't think it was going to happen. I thought we were going to be sweated out to the last couple minutes of the game in the fourth quarter, but that didn't happen. Chris, how you feeling right now?
Well, to your point, I will say I was very impressed by the fact that I believe we played our best game of the season in the Super Bowl. And I would actually say that I think Jalen might have played his best game, I don't know of his career, but possibly of his career in the Super Bowl. And what I'm impressed by is how Jalen shows up. I mean, obviously, 2 years ago in the Super Bowl, he played an insane game. If it wasn't for that fumble, I think we probably win, and a few other things. But he shows up. I was not surprised to see that, but I was. I think it answered a lot of questions for me. I'll be honest, I've loved Jalen, but there have been some question marks I've had kind of about his game and just, certain things. And then, I think the other thing is I was confident that we would win. I agree. I thought it was going to be pretty much kind of like it was 2 years ago, where it was going to be neck and neck. And we were going to have to sweat it out till the end. And the referees were going to be heavily involved because it was going to be such a close game that, a call one way or the other was going to make or break. And I even texted you like that first possession with that. I think it was PI on AJ Brown.
PI
right?
on
They
AJ
called a push
Brown,
off,
yeah, which was not.
was bad. It was bad, but that was actually my biggest concern. Is I didn't think we would lose, but I thought if we did lose, it was going to be because the Chiefs get a lot of calls. And I was also really surprised to see Andy Reid and Spags have literally no answer. As good of coaches as they are, and as long as they've both been around and as much success as they've had, and our coaching staff being, respectively quite young, compared to them, especially in experience. Yeah. I was really surprised that we totally stymied them. I mean, I thought in the second half they'd come out and look entirely different, and it was just more of the same on both sides. And we really never relinquished that momentum, which is very, very unusual, especially in playoff games. I feel like that momentum, you can literally watch it just swing back and forth in most games.
Yeah. The Eagles, I mean, obviously, like Andy Reid, Spagnuolo, like these guys are proven coaches, but the fact of the matter is that the personnel on the field, the Eagles defensive line, it doesn't matter how good of a coach you are. Like they absolutely decimated that Chiefs offensive line. They had no shot. They could not block anybody. Patrick Mahomes he didn't have a good game, but like he didn't have a chance in hell to even like look downfield for an open receiver. I mean, there were guys in his face the entire night, and it was freaking awesome. I mean, and they didn't blitz. They were just getting there with four linemen. They were just getting them every time.
It's absurd.
I mean, everybody had to play at some point. Sweat, Milton Williams, Nolan Smith, like all these guys, like they came to play, and they bullied that offensive line. They bullied them, destroyed them.
Like an important observation too is there were a few times where Mahomes actually had a little bit more time than he thought, and there were some throws that he normally makes that he didn't. Whether he just missed a receiver high or he was throwing a handful of balls into the dirt. Yeah. The Zach Bond interception, he kind of got pushed into his lineman and kind of threw in like an awkward platform. And I just noticed, and I was just noticing that was kind of a theme. Is there were a lot of weird high or low balls, which obviously Mahomes is known for those annoying, acrobatic, off balance, unorthodox throws, and he really was not able to pull any of those off. And then he was noticeably uncomfortable. And I think it was one of those things too, where even if we weren't getting the sack, the pressure alone over time, it was like, a boxer with the body blows. It just, it paid dividends in the end because he was a little
skittish.
Yeah, I mean, and they were saying it too, the commentators. I mean, you could look at his footwork and, as soon as the ball was snapped, he wasn't dropping back. He was just kind of like shuffling all over. He just looked uncomfortable, which was obviously the entire point. But, like you said, I think it's impressive that, we were able to do this without any actual blitzing. I would be interested to see what real blitzes actually would have done.
Yeah.
Mahomes' head might have rolled into the end zone, but I don't know.
Mahomes just was under fire, and he was seeing ghosts out there. Like was flashback basically to the Tampa Bay Super Bowl where they got him they hit him a bunch of times and he was just like very skittish and like foot happy in the pocket. Like it was just great. I mean, they made the best quarterback, arguably, definitely this generation, but potentially the best quarterback of all time in the future. Just look completely helpless out there, and it was such a satisfying feeling. I mean,
well, side note though,
yeah,
Xavier Worthy had like a quiet, like, what was it? Like, I don't know how many catches, but he had like 157 yards.
Yeah, but most
it was
of
like 8 for 157. No, I know, but it was like a very quiet, like.
Well, because the game was over at that point. Like no one cared. Like none of those touch, like the 2 touchdowns he had, like the game was already over. Like there was also no suspense.
Against McCollum too. Who?
Well, I saw that last one. Yeah, that was a hell of a throw by Mahomes. Like that was his best throw of the night by far.
I just think it's interesting, the stats, and that's kind of what pissed me off is the final score and some of the stats are not a true representation of the game because, like you said, there was a lot of garbage time scoring and padding of the stats. But my favorite part about that was that we not only got our revenge, but we actually, like, there was a shot, I think, at the end of the first half of their bench. And like Travis Kelce was like staring off into like the distance and like everybody just looked dejected. And I was like, we just won. Like body language alone, we won.
We stole their souls.
Yeah.
Like we literally stole their, like broke their will in that, like by the end of the first half. Like, yeah, it was quite something.
I know exactly the shot you're talking about too, where it's like the whole line of them going down. Yep. Kelsey's like sticking out in the middle.
Yeah. He's just thinking about like the next Taylor Swift album.
Yeah, I mean, even at halftime, it was 24-0. Like, I was like, obviously, like we've seen teams come back from this before. It's Mahomes, can't underrate him, but I mean, this game just felt different. I mean, this defense was not going to get scored on. Like, and the offense also like could not be stopped. So, by halftime, I was like, I think this game's over. And I wasn't expecting to feel that way.
And Jake was making his kicks. I think that was what we needed all along, was just Jake to make all of his kicks. They looked great. Every one of them. Actually, the one, I think it was the first one.
The one was a little shaky.
Snuck in there, yeah.
And then it just like...
But they call well, that was the one where they called a timeout, I think, or something. Or it was a flag or something. And the first one, because he had to kick that twice. The first one was down the middle. The second one kind of was leaking right a little bit. But he made it. But big game Jake, man. I mean... Yeah,
he saved his tail there. I don't know. I'm sure he's back next year.
Of course, he's back next year.
If he had a bad Super Bowl, though, I think he was going to get the axe. And I think too, what's interesting is, I mean, as much as we were hyping up Saquon, like it was kind of one of those things where like Saquon did his job, like he brought us this far, and you just kind of knew he wasn't going to have like an insane game because there was no way the Chiefs were going to let him beat them. Yeah. And they did accomplish what they wanted to, in the sense of they wanted to put it on Jalen, and, just Jalen answered.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I went into the game thinking that Saquon was still going to do Saquon things. I was expecting at least one 50-yard plus run out of him because he just seems to make that happen no matter who the opponent is.
Yeah.
Chiefs had a good game plan against them though, but Jalen Hurts, man. I mean,
he ran well. Jalen was very decisive. That's the first I've seen. Yeah, but the first, I mean, he was like, he had this burst.
He was decisive.
Yeah, and he wasn't like goofing off in the backfield. Like he would just, I don't know, which ones were designed and not, but if the first option wasn't there, he was gone. And like I said, he had this burst that we haven't seen. Towards the end of this season, we saw it a little bit, but like it's been like 2 years since we really saw.
Yeah.
And I think he was hurt last year with his knee more than they let on, but he was fast, man. And you could tell when Jalen's running well, when he can get to the outside like that and he can still pick up the first downs.
Yeah.
Obviously running up the middle is great, but there's times where he just beats people, to the sideline, and that's when he's kind of vibing.
Well, he was killing them with those. Like, that's how he was beating the blitz, was just running up the middle whenever, they were blitzing from the outside, and it was beautiful.
It was like 10 yards a clip.
Yeah. I think finished with 72 rushing yards, and I think that's a record for a quarterback in the Super Bowl.
It is. Yeah, and he surpassed. Yeah, well, obviously he
his own
surpassed
record.
the 2 years ago. It was
ago.
like 70. It was like something really close.
Which is crazy because I think back to that game 2 years ago, and I just remember, I just think of Jalen running wild. But
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he had more yards this game, I think there were more chunk plays, but it was really, it was beautiful, and they always came at the perfect time too. And like plays like that just break a defense's will.
Absolutely, it's
And-
demoralizing when you get the pressure and it just it still breaks down. And on third down they were great. Kansas City was awful on third down,
Mhm.
which is kind of odd. Travis Kelce didn't do shit. Made me even happier. Like we just checked all the boxes as an Eagles fan.
Yeah, no, we really did. And this was a full team effort. Kind of reminiscent of the NFC Championship game, but this was just every aspect of the team was clicking on all cylinders. Offense, special teams, defense. But I mean, for me, like the defense won this game. I mean, this defense, they were, obviously the top rated defense in the league for most of the season, after week 4 at least. But I still like, in my mind, I was like, because we saw the Eagles defense in 2022, like how as good as they were. I mean, they had a leaky secondary, but they were still one of the best defenses in the league all year. And then you saw what happened in the Super Bowl. They couldn't stop them in the second half. So then in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, it is Andy Reid. It is Patrick Mahomes. I could see them drawing up some sort of game plan that exploits our young secondary. That did not happen. These guys are fucking awesome. This defense is young. They're athletic. They're fucking physical, and they're tackle hungry. So well. Yeah, I mean, to see an Eagles team all season just be so consistent at tackling, I'm still not used to it.
Their pursuit is next level, and that's really what it is there really is no escaping, and there's just a relentless energy, and they're just ball hawks, and I love that, dude. You can bend it, but knowing that you can get a takeaways is huge, and not for nothing, but we finally got fucking linebacker play this year, and no wonder. Go figure, right? We win the freaking Super Bowl.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just the whole unit. Like, there's not really a weak spot. I mean, if anything, the weak spot I thought was our edge rushers, but that did not turn out that way in this game. I mean, everyone was going off. It was awesome. Yeah. I mean, I guess on the topic of that, is there a play from this game that I think that we'll look back on like, a year from now or like years from now and just be like, that's the play. That's like the iconic play from the game. Cause I mean, from 2017, you got the Philly special. And you have the touchdown to Ertz, and you got the Alshon touchdown in the beginning. I mean, there's definitely a couple options from this one, but I want to see what you guys think. Cause I think I know what play overall we're going to pick, but Derek, how about you? Is there a play from the game that you're going to run in your head again years from now?
Since the game, I've been thinking about that Cooper DeJean pick 6.
That's it.
I don't know. I was calm throughout most of the game, but that's the one that I like stood up and yelled my voice out for.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I was going crazy. I mean, where I was watching, everyone was just like jumping up and down. I mean, it reminded me of the Patrick Robinson pick 6 in the NFC Championship game in 2017. That was, I mean, yeah, it was special. I mean, pick 6 is always fun, but like the fact that it was Cooper DeJean, his first interception of the year on his birthday
in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what an electric play. And I mean, I think that was the point where, for me at least, I felt that this game was going to be in the Eagles' favor. I mean, that was just you don't get a pick 6 in a game. Usually, you get one of those, you win. But just that moment just felt so electric. Like I felt the way I did after the Philly special when that happened. Like I just knew like this game is ours. Like we're just destined to win this game. Chris, what about you? Is there another play, or is that the play you're going to pick?
Well, I mean, to be honest, obviously that play is huge, but I just find myself going back to the Zach Bond interception.
That was so awesome.
There was just something about that kind of felt like almost like a dagger. because that was the second pick. And it was also like, I don't know, I kept waiting for the Chiefs to do something to get back in it and to give me just enough doubt to be like, okay, we got to hang on here. And I felt like that turnover was kind of like the kill shot. But another, like, not just not a singular play, but another like pivotal point of the game that I kind of felt like, okay, it's over. Was the Chiefs' possession to start the second half. And I don't remember if they went 3 and out. I know we forced a punt though, and I'm pretty sure it was a 3 and out.
Yeah, I think it was.
And that right there was what told me I think we're going to win, because again, I expected Andy Reid, Mahomes to have some adjustments and to look to basically do like a 180 to start the second half. And you just knew the score being 24-0, that possession was huge. Although still a lot of game left, that was huge. And it was just more of the same. And when I saw that we came out looking the exact same ways that we went in to the half, I was like, all right, we're dominating.
I think at that point also, it's like, it's 24-0. You got to think like the math doesn't really add up. Like the Chiefs are running out of time. You know, the Eagles offense is going to do their thing. They're going to drain the clock.
Yeah.
You know, after that point, it's like, okay, yeah, maybe the Chiefs get the ball back with like, you know, half the quarter left, or maybe like 3 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
But you're still down 24-0. Like you got a lot of ground to cover. And this defense has been like locking you down the whole game.
Absolutely. You got to think that like midway through the third quarter, if they get the ball back, I mean, they're probably looking at 3 more possessions, best case scenario, unless of course there's a takeaway or you know, some quick 3 and outs by us. So yeah, you know, you still felt good from just a clock standpoint, but I just really felt like that was pretty demoralizing, and more so it was the tone. You know, my question was, can we come out looking the same, especially in the Super Bowl? You know, that's a long half. Or halftime break, and you never know what's gonna, you know, happen on the other end of that. And we kept that hunger, and you could see they still looked just as defeated as when they went in, and that's not what I expected from them. So I was pretty confident after that.
Yeah, and they tried to run the ball in the set, like to start that second half too. Like they were like, okay, we're gonna have to run the ball a little bit, maybe open up the pass, but I mean they couldn't run the ball effectively either.
No.
And then that's the point where Andy's like, okay, well, we're down by 24. We can't run the ball. We can't be a run offense. Like we're going to drain too much clock. We're not going to have enough time to even come back. Yeah, that's a good one. For me, I'm thinking of between 2 plays, because obviously the Cooper DeJean is probably the one that's going to get replayed the most. But I mean, I'm going to name the one that I'm going to pick, but then I'm going to name my honorable mention. But I mean, that Devontae Smith touchdown was fucking gorgeous, man. It was so pretty. I mean, that throw by Hurts.
Between those 2 plays.
Hurts just throws a beautiful deep pass. I mean, it was perfect, on the money. And even like the announcer, because I think he's like, oh, we're going to hand the ball off. They're going to hand the ball to Saquon to burn the clock. And then they're like,
be conservative.
I wrote this down. Dagger. I wrote this down because this call was just so good.
It was an amazing
Now
call.
The Eagles get it back, looking to run some clock. Or maybe just throw the dagger. Hurts, going deep, for it all. Devontae Smith, he has got it. Touchdown.
Yeah, was that Kevin Burkhardt, right? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. Really awesome calls. The DeJean call too was awesome. But yeah, I mean, that is just such a pretty offensive deep pass to Devontae. I mean, to Devontae too. Like we just love Devontae. He's such a fucking awesome beast. I mean,
we did that earlier in the game though. I want to say it was 4th down and we took a shot. Or it was 3rd.
Did we take a shot on 4th down? We didn't. I don't think they didn't really go for
in the first half somewhere.
Downs.
It was a very aggressive play call, which
the deep shot to AJ, the deep shot to Jahan Dotson.
There was a call that I was like, that's aggressive, but I kind of vibe with that, especially in the Super Bowl. I mean, you're playing to win. You're not playing to not lose, kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, Sirianni, you know, made the right calls when he had to. Definitely was a little more aggressive this game, but you know, obviously they're up by so much they didn't really have to be as aggressive. But I think he did learn from 2 years ago where he maybe wasn't aggressive enough late in the game. But the second play I was gonna name the honorable mention, the Avonte Maddox breakup on that fourth down. I mean, that was their last chance, their last gasp of any hope to come back. And I just love that Avonte Maddox too, because he's been around forever, and he's always hurt. Unfortunately, he's a talented player, but he just can't stay healthy. But just to see him have that moment was pretty cool. It was such a great play too. Just knocked that out of the air, and at that point, you're like, okay, this game is over. It's over. And yeah, I mean, those are the two plays I think of, but the Devontae one is the more sexy pick. And that is just like, I'm going to think of that pass in my sleep for the next 6 months for sure.
That reminded me of not that they're the same situation, but just like the feeling, reminded me a lot of the Corey Clement touchdown catch in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes.
That's a good one.
Just the ball is up and you're just like, your jaws dropped. You're just like wide eyed. And I'm going to be honest, that was a great throw, but that was not like a gimme catch. That was a pretty well contested catch, and a great job by him to secure that. That's one that not too many receivers catch that. Like I said, I think it might look in real time, it might have looked a little easier than it was. It was a perfect ball, but I think the defense actually played that pretty well. And Devontae's just, he's just a grown man.
Yeah, I think it's one of those plays. He's a good man.
He's a well-rounded man.
He's a good man. He's got good character. It's one of those plays where like okay, if you're being nitpicky, maybe Jalen could have gave him an extra yard in front of him. But and that's also a play where it's kind of a timing thing. If the defender puts his arm maybe there a split second sooner, maybe it bounces off his arm or something. But I don't know. I trust Devontae and AJ to both make contested catches.
Agreed. And AJ.
Yeah, well, I think I said Devontae and AJ, or maybe.
Oh, did you? I'm sorry. And Jahan.
I forgive you.
Jahan came out. There was his coming out party in the Super Bowl.
Dude, I thought he had that touchdown. I was going to be so happy for him.
Same.
I'm still happy for him, but
dude, he was like the Corey Clement of this game. I mean, it's really funny is that a guy I was watching the game with, he had a bet Jahan Dotson first touchdown score.
Ooh.
And he was
he missed it by 3 feet.
Yeah, it was it was devastating. But there was a point in the third quarter where Jahan Dotson had more yards than the Chiefs offense.
You love to see it.
I mean, the Chiefs didn't cross midfield until 3 minutes left in the third quarter. I mean,
yeah,
domination, just
absolutely,
just suffocating. Let's talk about what this win means. Obviously, it means the Eagles have won their second Super Bowl in their history. I think it really just the Eagles have always been a well-rounded and competitive organization, definitely one of the most respected ones around the league. But I think just getting a second Super Bowl solidifies them as one of the top organizations in football. Yeah, I mean, this win is just 2017 was for us because that was our first Super Bowl, and the fans it's special. And this is one where obviously we all wanted it, but I love this team so much. I wanted it for the guys. I wanted it for the players so much because they've really been through the ringer with how last year ended, losing in 22. But specifically Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, complete underdog guys, and just seeing them, have this moment. I mean, thinking about it, getting kind of choked up right now. It's awesome. I have the picture of Jalen Hurts holding the Lombardi Trophy on my phone, and I just can't. Every time I look at it, I'm this is photoshopped. I can't believe it. But I mean, just for legacy purposes, I think this game is just it. These guys are going to live on, and they're going to be immortalized forever. And everybody. But especially Jalen, I'm just I'm so happy for him. His journey it's been, we all know how he got here and everything, but he, the fact that he's here and he's done this is just it's special. It's special. And seeing him get choked up, kind of talking about it a little bit in the post-game interviews, seeing him hug his dad and you can tell they're crying. The guy is basically emotionless throughout the entire season, seeing him just kind of letting it all soak in and letting the moment really get to him. Just it's awesome. And then Sirianni, this guy, we wanted this guy fired back in September, October. And he's not going anywhere anytime soon. This guy, he's going to be. I mean, he might have already surpassed Andy Reid as the best coach in Eagles history. I think he needs more years to solidify that, but
he's got the results.
I mean, for a guy that's been so just criticized. I mean, Chris, I know Chris is not really a big Sirianni guy. I'm assuming that's changed now.
Well, I think to answer your question, like, what does this win mean, like, legacy wise? Well, I think the whole journey really is, it's like a redemption story. I mean, you talk about Jalen obviously being benched in the national championship, the adversity that he had to overcome, having different coordinators, a different offense every season, right?
He's going to have another one next year.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot to overcome. Obviously, Saquon, right? Basically, New York said, go see what's out there. You'll be back. And guy leaves and immediately wins a Super Bowl. I think Devontae too, right? Being an undersized guy in general, I'm sure, he's faced a lot just, throughout his career, proving himself. I just think, you look at even.
I mean, Becton, Bond, like.
Exactly.
Guy, like Becton was labeled a bust.
Absolutely. In New York. And then, Bond exactly was a special teams guy. Even Reed, right? Reed's kind of like a nobody that, like blossomed into something.
Nolan Smith. I mean, we were one way away from thinking he was a bust.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot, right? The fact that BG was able to come back and play in the Super Bowl. I mean, there's just there's a lot of redemption on this team.
That.
Yeah, and
so sick.
And I think that's what it is, and Sirianni too. I mean, yes, he was on the hot seat, and listen, I think rightfully so. I think he made a lot of mistakes, but I think he's learned from a lot of those things, and he's grown. And I think they answered all questions. I think Jalen is now in a different conversation, and I don't really care what anybody says. Jalen is an elite winner.
Yeah.
You can argue whether he's an elite quarterback, but he's an elite winner, and there really is no denying that. That is objective, not subjective.
True.
The dude just wins wherever he goes.
Shows up.
And
he shows up in big games.
And he wins in many different ways. And that's what I love about this team too, is that they can win any kind of game that needs to be played, right? We can win, let's just kick field goals all day, right? I don't know. Maybe Jake wouldn't win that, but we could play small ball, we can play, tough running. We can hit you over the top. Jalen can run. We could play defensive games. We could get takeaways. I mean, they can win anyway. And I think that's just, kind of a testament to the team that's been put together. And I'm so excited. The fact that like when we won in, 17 and 18, how, I think we all knew that there was a no shot that it was happening the next year. We had a lot of vets, a lot of older talent, a lot of, kind of like utility guys that were plugged in certain spots that you knew weren't going to be around. But it's different this time around because we're young and, our talent, I think, 90% of the team hasn't even reached its peak.
No, I mean, listen, Jalen Hurts is 26 years old. I mean, he's going to get better and better and better. Jalen Carter, freaking DeJean's 22 years old. I mean, they have a lot of young guys. Quinyon Mitchell,
everybody.
These guys are just going to get better and better, which is crazy to think about because I think Quinyon's already a top corner in the league. And
Devontae, AJ's not old, but
no one's. I mean, besides like some of the guys in like Lane Johnson, Brandon Graham, maybe like a couple other guys, but everyone's under 30 pretty much. Slay, yeah. Love Slay, by the way. I mean,
he's hurt.
When they won, Chris texted me in all caps, like, they did it. Congratulations. Slay is hurt. Like, all different texts.
So good.
So what's the running joke? Is all season long, I used to text Ryan like 17 times a game, Slay is hurt. Anytime something good would happen for us, I'd just be like, Slay is hurt. Because I swear, anytime you watch, like, as they're panning off like to a commercial, Slay's like in the background, like limping or some shit. He's always hurt. Bro.
Yeah, I felt like there was believe it. You brought that up in one of the episodes, and the very next game, they're like, "And Slay's heading into the blue tent." I'm like,
yeah,
no way. Say.
Yeah. But getting back to like legacies, like, I mean, Howie Roseman, I mean, I think he's a lock for the Hall of Fame now for, in the executive category. I mean, this guy is just continue like every year, just putting this team in fantastic positions to win.
There's one more thing he needs to do, and I'll put him in the Hall of Fame, and that is get Myles Garrett.
Get Myles Garrett. It could happen, man. It really could happen. I mean, I think it's more likely to happen than not happen. I'll say that. I mean, he wants to be first Super Bowl contender. He had to have watched that game on Sunday and just like been like frothing at the mouth, like, I want to be a part of this pass rush.
Absolutely.
Can you imagine adding him to this team? I mean, yeah. I mean, how do you stop him? How do you fucking stop him? That guy is a monster. He'll make Jalen Carter look small. Like, this guy is a beast. I really hope he does.
Actually, you could stop him if you bring Mason Rudolph out on the field.
Man, that was yeah. What a reference. Yeah, I think he's gonna make a push for him. You know how he's gonna make it. He's gonna try.
And that's another thing I think that this game means for us moving forward is not that we weren't on the radar. Obviously, the Eagles are a desirable place. Look at all the talent we've acquired, but I think it just furthers that, right? How desirable it is to come and not only play for a team of our caliber, right, that is looking to win multiple championships in the next few years, but also the city of Philadelphia. I mean, they were panning around the New Orleans, and I swear to God, I think I saw one red jersey.
It was very green.
Yeah, there were a ton of Eagles fans there. I mean, you could even hear it. I don't know if you like heard like the crowd noise, like the videos are just the crowd noise, but the Gene touchdown, like crowd is fucking loud as fuck. And even the introduction with Bradley Cooper, like, which was awesome, by the way. I mean, that was such a cool introduction. But the crowd's going insane. Like, it sounds like a home game at the Link. Never doubt these Eagles fans. They'll go broke to go to the Super Bowl. So,
we travel well.
I think a lot of them did.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is a foundation. Like, this team is young, and they're going to be young for a while, but they're going to be good for a long time. And this, we're looking at possibly the start of a dynasty. I'm just going to say that I'm going to put it out there, but I mean, they're going to be in contention every year. Mm-hmm. Every year, as long as Jalen's here, as long as AJ, Devontae, and this young defense are here, and they're going to be here for a few more years. But there's like a 3 to 5 year window right now where they're going to be Super Bowl contenders and favorites every year.
And it comes back to the same thing that I've been saying, and the question marks that I had coming into this season is, I don't doubt any of the talent on our team, but it just needs to. I'm hoping we can keep Vic around for a while because
he's not going anywhere.
The coaching is what matters, especially on a young team, and especially a team that is coming off a Super Bowl win now is, you're going to have to refocus everybody and, harness all the positives, but still learn from some of the things, I mean, gosh, it was a pretty damn perfect season. I don't know how much you could really change, but, we just have to keep developing these players and not fall into like being like a one trick, like, you always have to be evolving. And I just hope that the coaches can do that. That's that would be the only, I guess, that would be kind of like my my hope for them next year. I'm curious to see what the hell offensive coordinator is going to look like. I've got nothing against Kellen Moore whatsoever. I don't feel terrible about this one. I felt worse about Shane Steichen.
Yeah.
I do think Kellen can be, I don't want to say easily replaced, but I think he can be replaced. We'll see. I am worried though, it's another year where Jalen's like, okay, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, I would love for them to get like, if they could find somebody like a Frank Reich, someone who's not interested in becoming a head coach again.
Yeah.
Like, it's just maybe an older guy.
Yeah. To keep
some, or Josh McCown. I know he's been a name that people brought up. Former Eagle.
Honestly, you might go after Kingsbury.
Well, he was in Washington, right?
Yeah, and he's going to stay. I'm kidding, but I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, I mean, he's not leaving Jaden Daniels.
I think you need youth. I think Vic being a vet, defensive coordinator works, but I really do think offense needs a youthful.
I don't know if you need youthful. The young and hot like offensive coordinator.
Young
that just
and
means,
hot.
you know what I mean.
Whoa.
They could be physically attractive, but you know what I mean.
Ryan he's like just go get the best
hire
looking
me.
dude out
Just
there.
hire me.
What the hell?
No, but this is the only bad part of having Sirianni as a head coach is like as long as he's here, you're going to probably have a carousel of coordinators, unless you get like an older person or someone who's not interested in becoming a head coach, who's just completely content with being a coordinator.
They're out
but
there.
You get a younger coordinator. They're ambitious. They're going to want to become a head coach if an opportunity comes. And with this offense, I mean, this team's going to be in this playoffs every year, and they're going to look great. So, I mean, they're going to get offers from teams with head coaching vacancies. So, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't obviously whoever they hire, and they hire them because they think they're the best person for the job. But that's my only worry moving forward is the lack of consistency and continuity at with the offensive coordinator. But I mean, Jalen's shown that he can adapt and still find a way to be effective.
And here's the thing: the groundwork is set. If you're an offensive coordinator, I don't think you're coming in trying to reinvent the wheel here. I think you're trying to add some variety and change some things. But I mean, I don't think you're taking the offensive playbook and the scheme and like shredding it.
No, I mean,
whereas I think you kind of did that coming into this season, based on what last year looked like. But I don't think you do that moving forward. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a Sirianni hire where it's like, who the hell is this? And we'll kind of see. Really,
maybe.
I just think the way that organization works. They do. I'm going to say it, and I've said it from the beginning. I think they have some PTSD from Chip Kelly taking over everything, and I think they do hire guys that can fall in line.
Yeah,
and not anybody that's a hugely strong personality, from a coordinator standpoint.
Yeah, I mean, I trust the Eagles to hire the right person. I mean, they've not missed many times. I mean, obviously there have been some misses, but Brian Johnson. But
nah, he was great, bro.
But I do trust them more times than not to make the right choice. So whoever they hire, we'll accept it and we'll be happy with it. And as long as they win next year, who cares?
Question real quick. How do you think that a coordinator feels when they lose their job and the next year the team that they were working for goes and wins the Super Bowl?
Can't feel good about it.
Yeah, it can't feel great.
Or they're like, "Oh, why didn't these players play like this when I was there? I don't know. I mean, they also didn't have Saquon Barkley before.
I know. I'm just saying, though.
I know.
I feel like that's exactly what I would say if I worked for the Eagles last year.
If I had Saquon, this would have looked different.
Well, they have Saquon this year, so
Yeah.
Yeah, and this coach, I thought before this season, 2017 was probably the best coaching job that I've ever seen any Philly sports team have. I mean, the way that Doug adapted the offense to Nick Foles to just go on that run in the playoffs was incredible. But I mean, this team is just incredibly well coached and well disciplined. I mean, Fangio, obviously, the results speak for themselves. This guy's one of the best coordinators in the league, and he's put one of the best defenses the best defense in Eagles history, I think. But one of the best defenses of all time, at least in the last decade for sure. On the field this year. Sirianni getting these guys motivated after last year, after the loss in 22, after the 2-2 start this year, just using that bye week to right the ship and get everybody back on track and focused. And his message, you can just tell that the message that he says, can't be great without the greatness of others. Mm-hmm. I mean, that permeates through the whole organization. Everybody believes that. I truly, every time these guys are talking, they're echoing that sort of sentiment. And the fact that he's able to get his message out to these guys and they're really they're absorbing it is awesome. And I think it helps when the team's younger. That definitely helps.
It's a
Um,
testament to it's like a new generation, and I think you're seeing now coaches that are more on the same level as the players, whereas the old school like dictator Bill Belichick, Bill Parcells kind of personalities as head coaches, it doesn't really fly anymore. It's just a different generation of player. And I think we had a good balance of that with, a younger head coach and a younger offensive coordinator, and then, a veteran coach like Vic Fangio. I just think the balance is there. And then Stoutland, there was just a perfect balance there of like relatable coaches that the team can buy in. And then, guys that are kind of like no bullshit.
Mhm.
yeah. Well, I like my defense coordinator, like kind of curmudgeon and
Yeah.
like kind of mean. And
Kind of hot,
Fangio's
kind
a
of
little hot. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Fangio definitely fills that role. He's not going anywhere. I mean, I expect him to be here until he retires. There's no reason for him to leave. I mean, he's also from the area, and he's a huge
Yeah.
Philly sports fan, so he's in the perfect spot. And for Howie Roseman, like the member, like we were always so critical of his drafts. I mean, just think of the last few drafts, the players he's gotten for us. I mean, everyone has made impacts. Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Devontae Smith. Did I say Nolan Smith? I love Nolan Smith. But I mean, Quinton Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, like all these guys are just like home run picks. Home run. I mean, Jordan Davis, we thought, maybe could be a bust. Maybe Nolan Smith could be a bust, but the coaching staff's developing these guys and they're becoming studs, especially Nolan Smith. I can't believe how good he's gotten.
I think this is what I'll say. I think that's mostly a testament to the coaching staff developing guys. I think they finally found a sweet spot where they're looking more at the intangibles of a player. Can they be developed? Do they have all those other things? Maybe they're not like the most obvious pick up front. I think Howie has started to get out of his way a little bit more. I mean, there were some egregious picks that he missed on that 99.9% of people, whether you even know football or not, would have made the right pick in those situations because I just thought he was getting too cute. It seemed to work out now, and I think maybe he's finding, maybe the organization has some things that they're looking at in players more closely that is making them coachable, not like a Jalen Reagor or a Carson Wentz. But yeah, I agree. I just still think, he's missed on a lot, but, we wouldn't have been where we are now if anything went differently. But I think really where he's best is outside of the draft. I think free agent signings and trades. I think that's, to be honest, where I think he's best.
Well, working the salary cap. Yeah. I mean, it's such a, I mean, you can't take it for granted. I mean, he does things that other GMs around the league just like aren't able to do. And he just seems like the smartest GM in the league when it comes to like the numbers and the salary cap every year. He just seems to prove that. So that's definitely his strong suit. But I mean, the fact that now, like, I just feel so comfortable with the draft now. Like, I'm not even worried. They're going to take, like, I trust the scouting department. I trust Howie and Nick Sirianni and, all the guys, all the, the brain trust to make the right choice. I mean, I really have no doubt in this coaching staff, like Fangio, I mean, Stoutland, if they draft any linemen, like, I have no doubt that these players are going to be effective. And
there's less holes too.
Yeah.
As you hit on more drafts, it gets progressively easier because for years we were just miss. So it's like those holes pile up, and then you go from having one or two key spots that you need to fill to now, we just missed so many times. Now we have like 6, and they're on offense and defense. So he's hit on a lot. So I think there's less pressure. Maybe you get a little bit more aggressive, or maybe you just take still, the safe picks. But,
or you trade for Miles, or you trade for Myles Garrett and you give up 2 first-round picks. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I wonder about that, because it's like it is. It's you always have to kind of balance, right? Like, what am I giving up versus not just the name, the person you're getting, but like statistically, like what production are you going to get out of that guy? And yes, he's elite, but it's like, I still feel like our production's elite without him, obviously, right? We just saw that. So it's like, I don't even know Is it worth giving that up for?
I think if you can get him,
don't
you
know.
get him. Because honestly, like this defense is so young, and like you're young at all the key positions, especially on defense and even on offense. Like besides Lane, like your offense is pretty young.
Well, we're gonna need a
Lane replacement.
We're gonna need a Slay replacement soon too.
Well, I mean, you got. They have guys. They have.
I know. In Cooper, but still.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, a Myles Garrett just makes your defense that much better. I mean, he's a game wrecker. I mean, he's probably the best. He's the best edge rusher in the league by far. Like left, and yeah, I mean, he would if you can do it. I would do it. I don't really care what I give up because I just feel like any first round pick I get, like I've already got first round talent at a lot of key positions, and they're young on the defense already. So, we'll see. We will see. All right. After the game, like when the game was over, when you realized the game was over, like what were the emotions you guys felt? Like, did you shed some tears? Did you reach out to your loved ones? Did you hug a stranger? Did you hug someone that you know? Like, what went on wherever you guys watched the game on Sunday?
Derek.
I didn't realize it until I guess I remember confetti falling, but I realized that I hadn't stood up at all since time had expired. And I was just kind of sitting there smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I wasn't like nervous about it at all. Even the pass over the top to Devontae, like it just made me smile when he reeled it in. Like I wasn't up and cheering or anything. And I feel like that was most of my Sunday, just kind of like taking it all in, I guess.
Yeah.
I didn't even really do anything after. Like I didn't celebrate. I just kind of like drove home smiling like an idiot.
How about your dad? How was he during the game?
Oh yeah, he was. They were going pretty crazy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
What about Chris, you guys?
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I mean, I felt like I was processing the win like much sooner than back in 17 and 18 where remember we were holding our breath for that last play and then it's like, oh my god, then the excitement hits. Like this was a little bit more of like a kind of like the slow clap because I think it was a little pretty obvious we were going to win somewhere in the second half there, so it was less of like a sudden burst of excitement, more of that build up. And I just kind of remember standing there like smiling and just, just kind of like taking it all in. I still process it. Like I still will see images and be like, holy shit, we won the Super Bowl. Like,
yeah.
And I think too, for me, it was also like, I felt happy specifically for Jalen, for everybody and for Saquon, but Jalen probably in particular, because I do feel like, for the longest time, he just hasn't gotten any like real respect outside of Eagles fans. And it was nice to see, not that their opinions really matter, but all these dickheads on, ESPN and whatnot, like everybody was just basically having to apologize and put their foot in their mouth for all the shit that they were saying all year or the doubting and everything. So I think it was like kind of like a relief almost. And it was also like an excitement for, as we've been talking about the future. I instantly was just like, yo, like we're going to be good for a while. Like none of this is going away.
Yeah, I know. No, it's definitely true. Yeah, for me, I mean, I was watching at the local bar. We actually were able to get the upstairs. We rented the upstairs last minute.
Wow.
Yeah, I did reach out to the owner, and we were able to. He cut us a deal on it, and we all decided to do it last minute. So it was awesome, and we had several. We had like 20 people up there watching the game, and
that's sick.
We were going crazy. It was a party atmosphere. I mean, I started drinking at 3, so it was
correct move. Yeah.
We were freaking rowdy, and it was just like a party the entire game. The Gene pick, we went absolutely insane. I remember just jumping up and down. Like I had my hands like over the shoulder of like one of my friends, and we're just jumping up and down. I'm like lifting people up. But yeah,
dudes.
Yeah, whatever. And well, after that Devontae touchdown when it was 34-0, and I just started bawling. I was like, they're gonna win the Super. Like they won. Like this game's over. They're winning, and I couldn't help it. Like maybe it was the beer, but I was just like a puddle. I was crying. So like I'll send you guys a picture. There's a picture of, and
You already sent it to me.
Oh, did I already send it to you? I did already send it to you. I was so emotional and just like hugging everybody. And it was just like that entire fourth quarter was just like a party and just like soaking it all in. Like we won the Super Bowl. We won it again.
Oh, it's so good.
And just being so happy for the team and for the players. Because this season was definitely it was such a weird season because it started off so like frustratingly and poorly. And then they just got so good so quickly. Like it just gelled together so fast.
But we had injuries. Like, you know what I mean? There were some shaky spots and we still were winning through that, you know, like Jalen's concussion, and then Pickett got hurt, and then we're playing Tanner, and then we're like, holy shit, our third string quarterback's kind of a baller.
Yeah, now there's like QB competition. But yeah, just all the emotions. My dad was there. My dad's a Chiefs fan. And, you know, we're all in the front, and he's just in the back in the table, just like sitting there like this.
That's correct.
Just like watching his team get whooped. But he was happy for me, and yeah, it was just really special. And I try my best to like soak in these moments when, you know, our favorite teams win championships, because, you know, it's happened so few times in our life. So it's awesome. It's really awesome, and I don't think it's gonna be the last time with this team. I really don't. I think that they could win a couple of these things in the next, you know, 5 years or so. We'll see, but I don't want to jinx it. But man, they're good. They're really good. From the game, is there an unsung hero or somebody you think hasn't gotten any or enough credit for the win? I have one in mind, but if you guys have anyone else,
you go first then.
Jake Elliott was awesome. He had to make these kicks, because if he didn't make these kicks, this game isn't as, you know, lopsided, and maybe the Chiefs feel like they have more of a shot to come back. But he made all his kicks, all of his extra points, all of his field goals. Only one of them was a little shaky, but, you know, the 50-yarder, he had only made one 50-yarder all year in the regular season. He fucking drilled that one late in the game, down the middle. He was electric, and I just had a feeling like if the game ever came down to a big kick to win the game, or to even, you know, whatever, that he was going to drill it. I just feel like that he's got that kind of that Jalen gene in him, where he just shows up in the really big moments and will make a big kick for you. So I thought that him being as effective as he was it definitely helped the team win. I mean, he kind of gets lost in the aftermath of the defense and Devontae and AJ and everything. So, but that's my guy. Chris, do you have a guy you're thinking of?
An unsung hero.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. A lot of the heroes are pretty sung.
Yeah, it's hard on this team. I do think that I would say maybe just like not one particular unsung hero, but I think the defensive line got so much credit, but I think the offensive line, I think people fail to realize that both Dickerson and Juergens were like 2 weeks ago basically like immobile. And there was like nothing really said about that in the Super Bowl. I know they had, 2 weeks to get right, but at this point in the season, I don't think even 2 weeks gets you right, so to speak. And I'm sure they were playing far below, optimal health. So I would say maybe them, or just the offensive line in general. Obviously, throughout the season, they got a lot of credit for Saquon running, but I think they really held up well. Despite, not having a ton of the run game, Jalen wasn't really under duress too much. And I think just the fact that they were able to actually start, specifically Juergens and Dickerson. And I find that amazing, by the way, that Dickerson, like, I know he played center, but it's just like to like not play a position for years and just like swap over in like, one of the most important games not last week, but last game. I don't know, just kind of like crazy talk. And then Juergens is like not supposed to play, but he's like, fuck it. He's like, if you're hurt, I'll play. And then he's like, and then Dickerson's like, no, sit the fuck down. And then
it was awesome. That was so badass. Yeah. That's a good one though, because those guys definitely weren't feeling 100%. They probably got shot up with shit before the game, but like, I mean, they're probably hurting Monday morning. Yeah, that's awesome. That's a good one though. And didn't notice it either. Obviously, the run game wasn't effective or as effective as it had been, but I mean, Jalen had pretty good protection most of the game. And,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they really didn't make much of it, and I mean, I can't imagine as a center that you're having a back problem works out too well. Mm-hmm. Considering the position you have to be in, and obviously what you have to do. Dickerson with the knee too. Like I highly doubt that knee just decided to heal itself in 2 weeks. But that's what they are, and that's what this team is it really is the epitome of like next man up. I guess, I'll let Derek talk. I don't know who he's going to say, but I kind of had someone else do. Go ahead, Derek.
I was going to say somebody, but then I think I'm going to switch it over to whichever members of the defense had the fucking flu on like Thursday, Friday. And like
Jalen Carter, I know had it.
Yeah, all I know is Jalen Carter, and then like 3 other people on the defense is what I heard. Whoever that was did not seem to make a difference.
No,
seeing how brightly our defense shone.
Yeah, I would assume that
I don't know why I put myself
you
in these
could
situations.
probably feel like total death, but the amount of adrenaline that gets dumped is probably insane. Now, I would assume that after the game or the day, you probably feel like absolute steamy shit.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's actually a good one, too. I didn't even think about that.
And on top of that, BG coming back.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly who I was going to bring up. Yeah, he didn't have, crazy impact, but just the fact that he was there. And I was just so happy that he was able to actually play any amount of snaps. Because obviously, we could be talking about retirement here, but dude, a torn tricep.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I mean, he was badass. I think he had one hurry. I do remember him chasing down Mahomes.
Dude, he could have sat there in a wheelchair, and I would have just been happy that he was out there. In meaningful minutes, not like total garbage time at the end.
Yeah, he's talking today, he was talking today this morning on WIP up here, and he doesn't sound like he's convinced he's going to retire. I don't know. I think he might. I think at the end of the day he will, but I feel like he feels like he can still play at a high level.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't really have to play that much. And
that's true, yeah.
I think he's a good veteran presence. I think there's a lot of incentive for the team to bring him back just in that regard alone, not necessarily what he's going to put on the field. And he probably can see that this is a team that can win and win immediately again. And that's actually why I feel really shitty about Kelsey is like he leaves, which I totally get. And then the next year we just absolutely fuck everyone up and win the Super Bowl.
There had to have been a part of him that was like, I wish. Yeah, he definitely wishes he played. I think there's a part that's like, I wish I had stayed one more year.
Yeah, even just to be on the roster. Like, I don't even know. I'm sure he didn't want to go through another
worse
offseason.
Deal. He gets paid to talk about the thing that he's no longer a part of.
Exactly. Yeah. With a guy that's on the other fucking team. Who's his brother.
Yeah, it's funny. They had their podcast released a Congratulations Eagles tweet, and they got an enormous amount of hate from all the Taylor Swift fans, and they had to take it down, which is just like ridiculous. Like, come on, guys. And I think he finally tweeted today, like, congratulations to the Eagles, but it was like a long tweet about like mixed emotions for Travis and everything. I just feel it just sucks that that happened, because I know he's fucking happy for the Eagles.
He cares more about the Eagles than he does Travis.
His family.
Let's be real. No, for real. Let's be real.
One more name I want to throw out there, Milton Williams. I mean, what a fucking player. I mean, what a season he had. I mean, and this is probably the best game of his career. A couple sacks, had that forced fumble on that Mahomes play where he just gets destroyed. Like his arm gets like ripped off his shoulder, and then Jalen Carter fucking like punches him in the face. Like that. There's a GIF going around that's just like that on repeat. It's awesome. It's my favorite thing ever.
And it didn't get called, and it was just so like the Chiefs were just so deserving of just a non-call.
Yeah.
On just getting straight up just fucking jawed right in the
Yeah.
Oh man.
No, you played like shit this game. You don't deserve a call.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was Millen Williams had an amazing game for sure. All right. Anything else we want to talk about with this game before we close out here?
No, I mean, I think I'm still processing it a little bit. It sounds like, as I'm sitting here reflecting, it sounds like maybe I have some feelings to feel.
Yeah.
So I'll take that as a to-do homework.
Let out a nice cry about it. Some happy tears. I think it's, I basically I don't have any more tears to share.
He sends me a picture. He goes, "This was me at the bar," and it's just him just weeping. Not even like, just like.
Well, you
I need that. You got to send it.
Who took the picture though? We're like it looks set up.
I forget who took it. No, it wasn't set up. I forget. I think it was probably my friend Joe. Chris knows that I have like several Joe friends apparently. The Joe that I watch the Eagles games with. But yeah, I'll send it to you, Derek. Yeah. Then the next morning I was watching all the interviews and like rewatching the trophy ceremonies and just like it was bad. It was good, but it was bad.
Did you rewatch the game?
I haven't rewatched the full game. I want to wait for them to release the full game on YouTube or something so I can watch it. I've seen the highlights several times.
Yeah, I need to wait a while. I need to forget like a lot of the plays because I feel like right now I literally will just know each play.
I think they're also gonna release the mic'd up probably tomorrow or Thursday. The NFL films mic'd up. Yeah, those things are always awesome. So I can't wait to watch that.
Oh man.
All right.
Like Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith's. After the game, we got some catching up to do, dog. I don't know why I had to read that off. I should have been able to remember that. We got some catching up to do. And if you want to catch up with us, we're on social media. We're at 5 o'clock sweats on Instagram, at 5 o'clock sweats on X as well. We do this in video form, although this one might be a real weird one for you on YouTube, or we are available in audio form on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get those dang things. Anything else?
I think we should Photoshop a picture of Carson Wentz over Chris for this episode.
Yo!
Given the time that it is and when our episodes release, I don't think editor Derek's going to be able to do that, but wishful thinking.
Yeah, Carson Wentz low-key ducked Jalen after the game. Low-key.
Fuck that guy.
No, go Birds. Super Bowl champs, baby.
Go Birds.
It feels amazing. Feels amazing.
Birds. And, as always,
stay
Stay sweaty.
Oh, wait, my turn. Is that anything?
Yeah, I could hear it.
Oh, you heard it? I didn't hear it. Maybe
Nice.
I heard it.
Fuck.
That was C5 and C7.